Hello book besties, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Brittany and I like to read a lot. If you're returning, thank you so much for coming back. I had an amazing reading month. Like, I feel like so many books I read this month were so good. I read 24 books. I don't know how I'm doing this. Like, I just don't know how to function if I don't have a book that I'm currently reading. And because I'm such a mood reader, 90% of the time I'm reading 2 to 3 books. Like, I'm reading a physical during the day and then a Kindle for when I leave the house or like when I'm in bed. And then sometimes I have like an audiobook when I'm driving, cleaning, walking around, whatever. So it's like, I'm ridiculous, I know. Listen, I read for escapism, so the more I read, the happier I am. And like, this is like a little job now, so when I'm doing videos, obviously I read 3 to 4 books each video, and I'm doing reading vlogs, so yeah. Don't compare yourself to me. If you read 1 book, that's awesome. If you read none, that's totally okay. If you read 20, great. We are just gonna jump right into it and start with our first book. I did read Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. This was my favorite movie growing up, and honestly, even now, it's like one of my favorite movies / movie franchises. And I never actually read the book, so this year I was like, you know what, I'm gonna read the book and we're gonna kind of compare. This was a 5-star. This was so good. I did the physical and the audiobook. I really did enjoy the narrators for the audiobook as well, but there's so many differences between this and the movie, as you know there are with every book to movie adaptation, but it was really cool to read the differences and like see things that are in this book that actually happen in the 2nd or 3rd Jurassic Park movie, or like characters that they switched and stuff like that. Like, it's just so interesting when you see the movie first and then you read the book. This definitely felt more like spookier and gave off more of like that horror vibe that I feel like the movie's still freaky, obviously. It's dinosaurs eating people, but like this adds to it, you know? I literally made my boyfriend watch all the movies with me again because I'm just like such a dinosaur person. Like, I love dinosaurs, so we need more like good dinosaur books and movies. But I understand like it's probably hard because 1, like the budget, and 2, like everybody's probably going to compare it to Jurassic Park no matter what, so it's like the standards and stuff, like they're high. Like, you got to be able to beat that. So the next 6 books you have already seen in a vlog, and I was rereading my favorite books from my childhood just to see like how I feel about them now. So I do have them here. The first reread was The Hunger Games, which was also perfect timing since Sunrise on the Reaping came out. I haven't read it yet. I do plan on reading it, I think, next month, but we'll see. This was 5 stars. It was just as good as the first time around. I really enjoyed it, and yeah. Then we have Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson. This was a 3-star for me. This was one of my favorites growing up, but as I reread it now, I'm kind of like, there were a lot of like plot holes, especially the ending, like things that happen at the end. I have so many questions. Like, I've never had a book leave me with so many unanswered questions that I'm like, but what about this and this, and what happened to this, and I need more. Like, tell me more. And it's a standalone, so like I'm never gonna get those answers, you know? And I don't like remember that ever bothering me when I was younger, but obviously when I read this, I probably was just like reading for vibes and that was it, which I still do, but now I read like with a more analytical brain, I guess. Then we have The Click. This was another 3-star. It was so fun and like nostalgic, but obviously like there were some things in there that I was like, oh my gosh, what the heck? Y'all are rude. Or like, there was a lot of like body image issues and stuff, and they were in middle school. I don't know why I thought that they were in high school when I first read this, or like when I think about it. But yeah, they were in middle school. Then we have The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. I rated that 4 stars. That was another reread, obviously, for that video, and I forgot how much of a tearjerker that one was. Like, I didn't forget. Like, obviously, when you think of The Fault in Our Stars, you think of the sadness, but I forgot how like much I actually cried. Like, I did not think I was gonna cry the second time around, but you know, I did. And I forgot how many iconic quotes were in that book that you used to see all over Tumblr and everything. I was just vibing with it just because of the quotes and everything. Then we have TTFN by Lauren Miracle. This was a 3-star, again, solely for the purpose of nostalgia. This is literally all just like over IMs. It kind of just feels like you are reading a group of girls like IMs. I would pay so much money to go back and read like my old AIM and MSN like messages and stuff like that, because I bet they were so funny and stupid. But yeah, this is just following a group of girls in high school, like, you know, navigating their life and talking to each other. Ones that I did in videos, I'm not going into too much detail of the plot because I don't want to like always sit here and repeat myself more than I need to. If you've seen that video, then you're like, girl, we know. And like most of these are old, so I feel like everybody knows the plot of these already because they were super popular, and you know, I just don't want to make the video longer than it already is probably going to be. The last book from that video was Looking for Alaska by John Green, and this was a 4.5. Again, another tearjerker. Like, I remember this one making me sad, but I didn't think it was going to like hit that way again. But yeah, John Green just has like a way of writing where like when we were younger, it like was helping us like learn and process these emotions of like real life situations, you know, and it was, I don't know, this was so good. Okay, the next 4 are all e-arcs that I received that by the time this video goes out, I'm pretty sure they're all going to be out except for one of them. So the first one we have is Exiles by Mason Coyle. That was a 4-star. That is a sci-fi book, and oh my gosh, that was so good. So this comes out September 16th of this year, and this follows this group who goes to Mars to kind of like make it sustainable for living on Mars. So they're going to spend the rest of their life like on Mars in this hub, and when they arrive, the like hub that they're staying in is destroyed, and the robots that were originally sent to like build this and just like assist them on this whole thing are like self-aware. Like they have genders now and like belief systems and everything. And there was some crazy things that happened in this book. It was so enjoyable actually, and me, someone who's new to sci-fi, it was a really good time and it helped me like want to get more into sci-fi. Then we have Summer in the City by Alex Astor. This book is already out now. Like I said, by the time this video comes out, this was a 4-star. When I first started this one, I was kind of like, ooh, I don't know how I feel about like the female main character. Like she's giving very much, I'm not like other girls, you know? But as the book continued, I became so like entrapped in the story, and I had such a good time. Parker's like one of the most ultimate book boyfriends, and I ended up loving it. And I loved seeing like her as like the screenwriter sitting and staring at something. Like she would look at like a fountain, for example, and just be able to like come up with all these tropes and storylines and stuff. And like it was really cool to see like that side of things, I guess. Then we have Teacher's Pet by Katarina St. Clair. This was hot. This was a 4.5. I love Katarina's writing. She's actually become like an auto-buy author for me after I read one of her other books, Forgive Me Father, like I think it was last month or the month before. I love the way she writes because she'll have this like taboo romance plot going on here, but then there's also like this subplot of something else going on with like just something crazy or like corruption or this or that. Like it's so good because sometimes when you're reading like a dark romance and it's just dark romance and that's it. I read another book, for example, like it's just a taboo romance, like there's no outside things going on. After a while you're kind of like, okay, cool, like whatever. But when there's like this whole other thing going on, it's the drama, you know? It really keeps you like into it. So this is a professor-student. I know I've probably said this before on my channel, but yeah, I love professor-student tropes because I had a massive crush on my philosophy teacher in college. He was so cute. So yeah, now I just love professor-student books because, you know. And then we have Strawberry Patch Pancake House by Lori Gilmore. This is part of the Dream Harbor series. This was another 4.5. This actually might be one of my favorite single dad tropes that I've read so far because something about the way this one was done was so good. Like watching his relationship form with the daughter, her name's Olive, was so just like, I don't know, it was so cute because she like didn't want to talk to him or anything. Like she was so shy around him at first. So like watching this relationship develop over time, just, I don't know, it hit differently than like them both just accepting it. And then the nanny, like obviously single dad nanny situation always works like that. It was just a really good book. I love Dream Harbor. It feels like a big warm hug reading those books, and I guess it's because it reminds me of Stars Hollow. So it gives me like that Gilmore Girls fix, you know? Then we have Three Women by Lisa Taddeo. This was 4 stars. This was really interesting. It was a good read, honestly. And these are based on like real stories from women. So I thought that was really fascinating too. Especially there's one with like a teacher-student thing, but like not in the way that we like in a real life uncomfortable way. That like I started diving down deep into all of like the trial and everything, and it's just crazy. And like wow, I don't know. I feel like this was really good. There's just some crazy things that happen in this book. Oh, another arc that I read, I completely forgot about this one. This is called For Fillies and Monsters. I forgot about this one because this was a soft DNF at 40%. I do plan on rereading it, but I think at the time I was kind of still in a book slump, like kind of coming out of it, but still in it. So I just like, I can't figure out what it is I didn't like about it, but something just was not like working for me. Like, it's a dark stalker cowboy romance, but it was just, I don't know, something about it, I was just like, I can't do this right now. So I do plan on reading it again. Now that like I'm back into like a reading mood, I might try to pick it up again and see if it was just like a slump or if I just don't resonate with that book, which is okay. I mean, you know, you're not going to resonate with every single book. So then we have Praise by Sarah Kate. This was a buddy read with my friend and we audiobooked this, and this was a 4-star. I love the like ex-boyfriend dad trope. I don't know what it is, especially too when there's like a club involved, kind of like Neon Gods, or like there's another book I read that has a club but I can't think of it. But I don't know why, like to me it's fun because it's like not a normal everyday thing that like you see, I guess. I don't know, but it was good. It was really enjoyable, and we definitely want to continue the series. So this one was done really well because she is dating this guy, they break up, and his dad has her half of the like rent security or something like that. She has to go pick it up from his dad, who she's never met. So she goes, and he thinks that she is someone coming for like an interview for this club. So so she walks in and he literally is immediately like, get on your knees, like oh god, not like that. It's anyways, it's just hilarious because he was like looking for pretty much like girls for this club who like submit or whatever, like they just sit there, and I don't know, I'm not gonna go into detail, okay? But long story short, he hires her as his secretary, and obviously like a relationship blooms, and it was really good. It was really enjoyable, so yeah. Then we have Professed by Nicola Rendell. This is another professor-student trope. I don't know what I was on this month. And I also have Kiss the Villain that I got this month, but I haven't read it yet because I was like, you need a second. But yeah, clearly I was just like in a professor-student mood this month. This was enjoyable. I rated this 3.5. It definitely is not like my favorite professor-student book. It didn't feel as like forbidden because I wanted more of them like, you know, sneaking around and being sneaky on campus, which we did get a little bit of that. But most of it was like them going other places or like driving out of the city to go on dates and stuff. And I was like, oh, well, that's not like as fun. You know what I mean? Like, I like the sneaking around. Like, that is so fun to me. I think it also felt very insta-lovey, so I feel like the other stuff wouldn't have bothered me, but it was very insta-lovey, and I think when you do like a forbidden or like a taboo type romance, I feel like you have to do like a slow burn with it, because I just feel like those two, like you need the tension. Even if they do like a one-night stand in the beginning, and then it's like, oh crap, you're my professor, we need like the tension from there, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. You need the tension. That one follows Naomi, and she ends up meeting, he is called like the Master of Yale. I don't know what that means. They probably explained it in the book and I like glazed over it, but he's called the Master. I guess I'm not like Ivy League enough to understand what that means, but they meet at this like masked secret society ball type thing, and they end up getting together. She leaves the next day, and oh, guess what? I'm your student. And from there, it's just immediately like, I need you, oh my gosh, we have to be together, you know? So then there's also the dean, who's kind of really annoying. Like, he's going out of his way to try to bust him for like sleeping with his teacher, but he knows nothing. He just like is convinced it's happening based on nothing. And I don't know, there were just some things where I was kind of like, but it was still good. It was still enjoyable. So yeah. Another audiobook I did this month was Pen Pal. This was a 4.5. This was crazy. I need more books like this plot, and I can't say much without giving it away because I feel like you do need to go into this book blind. But all I am going to say is, based on what people have said about this book and based on the synopsis of this book, I genuinely thought that this was just going to be a dark romance about a girl whose husband passes away. That's not a spoiler, that's like part of the synopsis. and she ends up falling in love with this guy from prison who's writing her letters. And I was like, oh, okay, I mean, I guess, like, that's not really, like, something I would ever care to read, but my friend really liked it, and I just kept hearing really good things about it. So I was like, you know what, like, whatever. Let me just read it. It was on Spotify or a Libby available now or something like that. So I was like, whatever, let me just listen to it, you know? I did not expect any of that. Like, the synopsis is literally talking about how the letter arrived the day that my husband was buried, and it's postmarked from the prison. It's just talking about her writing back and forth between, like, this man. But I can't say anything else because you need to go into it completely blind besides that. But everything I told you is in the synopsis. So the only thing I will say about that one, that I did not like the nicknames. The little bunny, big bad wolf thing. I was like, like, sir, I don't mind nicknames. I love a good book nickname, but like the little bunny, big bad wolf, like, I don't know, for some reason I just was not into that one. Like, if you're gonna do like an animal thing, like, I love, for example, like Little Mouse in the cat and mouse duet. Love that one. I thought that was adorable. Maybe it's just because I love Zayd Meadows. I don't know, but yeah, so know that going into it. The next 4 that I do have will be in an upcoming vlog. So I'm not going to go into too much detail because this vlog will be coming out next week. I do still have to include them because I read them this month. So hear what I say about these books and then completely forget when you see this video next week. Be like, oh my god, I wonder if she liked this book or not. You know what I mean? Like, pretend like you don't know how I feel about these books. And if you're not subscribed, definitely do that. That way you do see this video because these books were so good. Should I tell you my rating? Well, yeah, I guess I should tell you my rating because you could just go look on Goodreads anyways. So yeah, I'll tell you my ratings and just be very vague about it. So first we have When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. She's a thick girl, she is. I did half physical and half audio for this book and I rated this 4 stars. This, first off, I got notes for this book, okay? So, this book follows Rave and Khan. Rave is an assassin for the rebellion, and then Khan is like a king dragon rider, and Rave ends up getting captured by the guild and crosses path with Khan, and he pretty much, I'm gonna say kidnaps her. Saves her, kidnaps her, whatever, and he's like determined to, you know, keep an eye on her and everything, and you kind of start to learn why as the story unfolds. And then you do also get at the end of every chapter, you get diary entries from Elowen, who is someone from a long time ago, and she like is trying to get a dragon and this or that. The lore of this book, the world and everything about it is very like unique and complex, so definitely take your time reading this. In that video, I kind of go into a little more detail, so if you were wanting to read this, definitely watch that video because I kind of explain, like I said, I have all of these notes I took, so I really explain like the world and like how the magic and everything works. That way, like, it hopefully helps somebody out. But yeah, I did enjoy this. I think it's very unique. I think the writing is very like lyrical and like metaphorical, but not like flowery. And I like the characters. I really like Khan, and that's all I'm gonna say about this book, so watch that video. And also just know that this is a like very slow burn for like everything, plot, romance, everything. Like, it really goes kind of into the world and everything first, so just kind of know that as well. Then we have the Book of Azrael by Amber V. Nicole. I don't know what Amber put in this book. Oh my gosh, this was a 5-star. Sam Kyle / Liam, oof, the man that you are. I love him. I love him. This is him in that vlog that I'm posting. I already claimed dibs on him, so unfortunately you guys can't have him, so I'm sorry about that. But I also really like Diana. I don't know why people don't really like her. I really like her. I think she is hilarious. And the banter in this book was so fun. So this follows Diana and Liam, who is also Sam Kyle and the World Ender. And then she is a I can never say that word. Whatever. What the heck ever. So she's a monster. He's a god. They're enemies. It's very enemies to lovers. And everything she's doing is to save her sister, and they have to go on like this little quest together to help each other out for like mutual benefit. There's something that happens at the end that I literally did not expect, that I was like, whoa. So yeah, I'm really excited to read the second book. I wish I could read it now, but I have like a mental TBR that I have to get through before I can read the second one, and I kind of like need a little bit of a break because sometimes if I'm like with the characters too much, I'm like, I need a break from you guys. So then we have The Crimson Moth by Kristen Ciccarelli. oh my gosh, this was also so good. Like this was, I'm telling you, this month was so good. This was a 5-star again. This is a witch and witch hunter, like enemy to lover again. And it follows Rune and Gideon. So Rune is the witch, Gideon's the witch hunter. And it kind of gives like a little bit of fake dating too, because they're both like pretending to like court each other for like their own benefit, but obviously it morphs into like real caring. It reads so easy. Like this is not one of those books where you have to read 100 pages into it before it gets interesting or before you understand what's going on, like most fantasy books. Like no, this picks up immediately, and like I read literally like 200 pages in one day, and like the only reason I stopped is because it was like 1 a.m. like I had to go to bed. It's also very like high society Regency setting, as well as like witches. Oh, and the most important literal part of the plot is that she Rune, she is the Crimson Moth. Like she's a vigilante to help save witches. So I feel like that was kind of an important part that I forgot to mention. And the last book for that video, Blood of Hercules by Jasmine Moss. This was a 3-star. So remember about 5 seconds ago when I just said, oh my god, it's like those, you know how most fantasy books you have to read 100 pages in before it starts to get, yeah, this is how I felt about this one. So it took like 150 pages before I was like, okay, I guess it's okay, but I don't hate it and I don't love it. It just wasn't really my cup of tea. This follows Alexis. She takes a blood test and finds out that she's Spartan, and she has to go to the Spartan War College and has her mentors Achilles and Patro, and then the teachers are Karen and Augustus. Someone's stalking her. Like, I don't know, there was kind of so much going on in this book trope wise, and this had so much potential. The plot and the concept so good, but it was not executed the way that I was hoping it would be. The lingo in this book, which is what it seems like most people are complaining about. It's very like heavy Gen Z TikTok lingo. Gen Z in like a way that like most Gen Zs don't even talk. Like it's like dramatic Gen Z lingo. I don't know if that makes sense. I just rated this as a neutral 3 stars. If you want more in-depth thoughts, go ahead and watch that video in about a week. But I know I keep saying that, like I just really don't want to give away too much because then you guys aren't gonna have any incentive to watch that video. Next we have Stay in My Swamp by G.M. Barrie. So, if you saw my last wrap up, then you saw that I read Get in My Swamp. This is the sequel to this book. This was a book that I read with my friends who we just read like really crazy, weird books. And this I actually did rate 3 stars. It was so much better than the first book. I feel like the plot and everything of this one was actually really interesting. And I really did enjoy it. So, do with that what you will. Up next, I have For the Fans by Nyla K. This book was one of the easiest 5 stars that I have ever given. I swear, this book made me cry and giggle so many times. It's just such like a beautiful story. This book follows 2 stepbrothers. It's a stepbrother trope. Some people find that weird. I do not, especially because they didn't grow up together. They literally met when they were like 16 or something, and they hate each other. They've literally hated each other the entire time up until they're in college and their family is like pretty much going broke, and they're like, well, we need money, so they end up doing an OnlyFans together. It's not like, oh, we need money, let's do an OnlyFans together. So one of the brothers already kind of like started one privately on his own because his friend like does it and was like helping him through it, and then his friend brought them both in for a video for her channel, and then they kind of, all the fans were like, oh my god, we need more of them, so then they started doing it together, like them two, and then they started realizing like, oh, I might be like bi, you know what I mean? Like I might be into this. And then they started like developing feelings, and it's just it's like actually a really beautiful story. And like I said, I don't mind the step sibling trope. One of my favorite movies is literally Clueless. Like, it's when you guys are like grown, I don't know, it's not like you guys grew up together and are like actually related, you know what I mean? Like it's the same as like Friends, and like they weren't even friends, they literally hated each other. So I'm not gonna keep like defending myself because I don't need to. If you don't like it, that's fine, you know. But really good, beautiful story. Again, I cried multiple times and it was just so entertaining, and oh my gosh, it was so good. There's also like more of a plot. It's not just these people making videos for OnlyFans. Like they're figuring out, you know, themselves, and Kyron does football and he's trying to get into the NFL, and like you're kind of also just following them individually too. But it's very spicy, so just know that. lots of spice. I think I'm literally starting to lose my voice because I'm talking so much. Up next, we do have Nightshade by Carrie Lake. This was a 4.5. I love Carrie Lake's writing ever since I read Nocticadia, like last year or the year before. I don't even remember when I read it, but I was like, I need to read all of her books because she just has a way of creating like these atmospheric, gothic, dark, like fantasies that are just so unique and interesting. And the whole like concept and plot of this book was so good. I need more books like this. This is like a dual narrative slash dual timeline kind of situation because it follows Van Croy and Farron, but then it also follows Lustina and Jericho, who is the Baron, and it starts to connect, I promise, like just know that going into it. But Farron's dad pretty much is like studying these cults and everything, and he ends up dying, and Farron ends up like finding this research and everything and kind of looking into it as well, and she ends up finding this place called Nightshade and this cult and everything. She goes to Nightshade to find her dad because that's where she believes he is, and that's where she meets Van Croy, who is half angel, half demon. He's got like the nickname Death Reaper or whatever. Then you're following that dual narrative of Lustina and Jericho, which is from the past, and he's a Baron. I think he's a Baron, right? We're gonna say he's a Baron. I don't know if that's the right word, but that sounds right. And it's like a forbidden love type thing, and they think that she's like a witch, and they end up falling in love. Like the love in this is so like, this is the type of love where like he would burn the world down for his girl. Like he actually does. Like he burns a whole village to the ground, you know? So I feel like that's all you need to know about that. I will say it's a thickie and it's a duology, so I think it's like 700 pages or like a little under 700 pages. Yeah, I'm gonna take some time before I read the second one because I need a break from them. I love them, love the book, but I know if I start the second one right now, I'm gonna be like, I'm not interested, you know what I mean? Because I need a break from them, because at certain points it did start to drag a little bit where I was like, ooh, this book is getting long, but then the end was good again. So yeah, if you are looking for like a nice moody, like dark, gothic, atmospheric, that was a lot of words, this would be the book for you for sure. Carrie Lake is just magical with her writing. And the last book, I hope it's the last book, I hope I didn't miss anything, but it is the third Gilmore Girl by Kelly Bishop. I rated this 4 stars. This was an audiobook. This was something I put on hold a long time ago on Libby, and I was just like, okay, whatever, like when it becomes available, it's something that I'll listen to just because I do like memoirs, and Gilmore Girls is one of my favorite like comfort shows. So I just thought it'd be really interesting, and Emily is one of my favorite characters on that show because she's just funny. Like she's just iconic. Like she's crazy, she's insane, but she's iconic. The author, the actor Kelly Bishop, she also narrated the audiobook, so I love that. I love when the author is the narrator because it just, I don't know, it just hits differently. But this book was great. It honestly felt like a warm hug from like an old friend. Like I just felt like I know her for some reason, and it was so interesting to see her life growing up and that she did ballet and like all of these shows and stuff that I never even knew. And especially when she started talking about like Gilmore Girls, I just like, I got like this like little hint of emotion for some reason too, because of like how Gilmore Girls makes me feel, and then hearing her like talk about how it made her feel. I feel like memoirs are really good if you're like in your 20s, or honestly no, if you're at any age, 30, 40, 50, like literally any age. I feel like memoirs are so good to remind you that like there's so much more life ahead of you. Like just because you didn't figure everything out by the time you're 19, 20, 21, like does not mean that it's like the end of the world. Because I feel like she didn't really get started until she was older. Like her stuff really didn't start taking off until she was older. And so like memoirs kind of just like give you that comfort, you know, that like there's still more for you. I think that's the last of the books. I hope it is, because I'm losing my voice. Like my throat is getting scratchy. Let me know if you've read any of these books. Let me know your thoughts on them. And if any of these are now on your TBR from this video. I always like to know if anybody watches these and is like, oh my god, that sounds so good, let me add that to my TBR. And stay tuned for that fantasy vlog coming next week. I'm really excited. It's going to be a long one, so definitely prepare for that and get like a snack and drink and everything. But I'm gonna stop talking about that vlog, and we're gonna end this video out here. So don't forget to give this video a giant thumbs up and subscribe. Hit that bell button, that way you don't miss anything that I post. And follow me on all of my other socials linked down below. I do have a free Fable book club as well. I'm waiting for a couple people to actually join it before I start, and every month we will be reading a book. We'll do a poll and pick which book we read. Any genre is welcome, so whether you're a fantasy girly, you're romance girly, dark romance, whatever you are, at some point we'll read a book that is, you know, you're gonna want to read. And if you don't like the book that we chose that month, that's okay. You don't have to participate. You can participate the next time, you know. So definitely click that link and join as well, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.